Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about how to read the lines and spaces on the music staff. So if you've looked at the infographic on the first part of the website, hopefully you have some very brief idea of how to read the lines and spaces. So you can see here on my screen, I have a treble clef, which hopefully looks familiar to some of you who I know play in that clef. So that's going to be anyone who plays the flute, clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, or French horn, or percussion. And then we also have the bass clef. And that's going to be all of the trombones, the euphoniums, and the tubas. So the treble clef you can see is higher because the treble clef notes are higher in pitch, and the bass clef is lower because the bass notes are lower. So if you remember from the infographic too, we talked about using the musical alphabet. And so in our musical alphabet, the only letters that we have are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So those are the only combinations of notes that we're going to have on the music staff, and of course they're repeat. We'll introduce something later called sharps and flats, which if you've had elementary school music, you may know what those terms are, but today we're just going to be talking about the lines and spaces on the staff. So if you also remember from the infographic that I shared in the first part of the website, we always go from what? We go from the bottom of the staff and read up to the top of the staff. And that's going to go for both treble and bass clef. We always start from the bottom and we go to the top. So in my first example here with the treble clef, we're going to start with the lines, and the lines are pretty self-explanatory. It's the ones that are the lines in the staff, and the part in between the lines are the actual spaces. So we're going to memorize this sentence. Every good boy does fine. And you can see where I just drew right there. I drew each letter of the first word on the lines in treble clef to hopefully remind you that that's how you figure out the notes. So let's say you wanted to figure out what this third note was right here, and it's on the line, so we know what sentence we're going to use. And in your head, you're going to go from the bottom to the top, and you're going to go up 3 lines. So now we have E for every, G for good, and then B for boy. And that's how you get your note right there. So we're going to do that same thing, but now down in bass clef. And the bass clef sentence is good boys deserve fudge always. And I know these sentences are really silly. You'll actually get a chance during this lesson to come up with your own sentence, but it's the same concept. Let's say we wanted to figure out a note that was on the 4th line in bass clef. So we have decided that it is on a line, so we know what sentence to use. We're going to start from the bottom to the top and count up. So G for boy, G for good, B for boy, D for deserves, and then F for fudge. And that's how we know this note right here would be an F. And it's going to be the same thing, guys, for lines and spaces. So now we're going to talk about spaces. So the treble clef one is rather easy because it spells a word. And if you remember from the infographic, the word F-A-C-E. And what word does that spell, you guys? It spells the word face. So you can notice here in my drawings where I'm drawing the actual letters, it is in the space between the lines. So a note in a space would have no line going through it. Here's the difference between a note that's in a space and a note that's in a line. You can see that the one in the line of the staff goes straight through the note head. The one in the space, it's left empty. So let's do that same exercise, and we'll actually use the same note that I just had. Hopefully we can see that it's on a space, and so we're going to go from the bottom to the top. And we're going to use our sentence, or not in this case a sentence actually, but rather our word. So F and then A. So that note, when you see it, is always going to be an A in the treble clef. Let's do the same thing for bass now. So base, the sentence we're going to use is all cows eat grass. And so we're going to do that same exercise. I'm going to draw a note. Hopefully you have identified that it is in a space since there's no line going through it. We're going to start from the bottom to the top and count up. And our sentence is for spaces in base clef, all, so A for all, C for cows, and then E for eats. So anytime you see a note on that third space in base clef, it is going to be an E. So the faster you guys can memorize the sentences, the easier it's going to be to learn the lines and spaces in the staff. Let's do a little quiz. And you can even pause the video if you need to see if you need more time to answer my little questions that I have for you. Okay, we're going to start with treble clef first. So if you're a bass cleffer, just hang tight for me. I'm going to do one with you guys in just a second. I am going to choose this one. Now before you guess, keep in mind, what's our checklist? We have to make sure we know, is it on a line or a space? What clef is it? And making sure we're going from the bottom to top. So go through those checklists real quick in your head, and I'm going to give you 5 seconds to see if you can answer out loud what letter this is in treble clef. And if you need to pause for more time, pause right now because I'm about to reveal the answer. The answer is an F. So hopefully you've identified that this is on a line. We're going to go from the bottom to the top, and we're going to think about our sentence for lines in treble clef, which is every good boy does fine. So that's where we get our note for F. Okay? All right, bass cleffers, it's your turn. And this time I am going to choose this note. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to see if you can figure this one out. All right, pause the video right here if you have not quite gotten the answer because I'm about to reveal it. The answer to this letter name is G. So hopefully your thought process was this. You know you're in bass clef. We can identify that it's in a space since there's no line going through it. We're going to start from the bottom to the top, and we're going to think about our sentence for spaces in bass clef. All cows eat grass, and that's how we got our letter for G. Please review this video as much as you need to for practice. We're going to have more chances of practice coming up in this lesson, but I hope you guys were able to get some useful information, and reading notes on the lines and spaces has become easier for you after this video. Thanks, guys.